What if you scribbled an idea on a napkin and it became a limitless scale tech company poised for exit? What if you had a vision of eliminating an inefficiency in your community, industry, or the world, and you had a chance to co-found a company and bring this product or service to the market? What if we could positively impact every social issue with tech? 10x Tech Tank is the #1 daily show for everything tech entrepreneurship. And whether you are technical or not, you will learn, be inspired, and witness transformation in the making. People will share tech ideas on napkins. People will showcase minimum viable tech products. People will explain their cash-flowing tech companies looking for acceleration. And if the person is right, and their idea is right, and the market is right, and the business model is right, then there's a great chance you will witness some serious magic. We are on a mission to build, scale, and sell 10,000 tech companies in 10 years. And we invite you to make history with us. Together, we achieve more.
Welcome to 10x Tech Tank. I'm Jared Yellin with
Eric Nowoslawki.
Who do we have with us today?
Our favorite friend, Mike Koenig.
So this is Eric's buddy. This is like his brother from another mother. Maybe mutual in some ways. Like these guys have these love fests talking about data and automation. Mike,
that kid's so smart.
So listen, I'm so happy you're here, man.
Thanks.
Outside of being a great friend, what you've done as an entrepreneur it's just extraordinary. So I'm going to ask you just share it all. What have you done? You've had exits, you've scaled businesses, you've had challenges too. Speak to the audience so they can understand who Mike is.
All right, my name's Mike Koenig. I live in Southern California, so I'm all the way here in Miami to be with you today. I'm a 5-time serial entrepreneur. I started working full-time when I was 16, started writing video games, and then I created one of the very first digital marketing agencies in the world. We were acquired by $1 billion agency that was owned by the Interpublic Group, which is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. Went on and created 2 software products. So they were software as a service, or what's known as SaaS. We sold those to a SPAC, what's known as a reverse merger, but it's another version of a publicly traded company. And then from there, started getting into adult education. We helped over 1,800 business owners become bestsellers, taught them how to speak and sell, create their own products, market themselves, coach, consult, advise. And we had studios like this, but our largest one had 8 sets like this one in it. And we media trained people. So sold that a couple of years ago, and now I just work with founders and help them grow their businesses. I'm an active investor, and I'm really helping other entrepreneurs take their ideas to market, grow them, and I've got 2 big products in the incubator myself because I wanted to find a specialized team that could take my ideas, because the decision I made is I don't want to start and run another business myself. I thought, I've got great partners, so I'm here both because I'm in the same seat that you are, or I was in the same seat you are right now, if you're pitching an idea in this program, and it is awesome to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Really
and you're going to see Mike has so much insight, and he's going to share his wisdom, strategies, challenges to the entrepreneurs this evening. So thank you for being here. This is your first time. We're excited to have you. We will have entrepreneurs pitching us their ideas literally from around the world. Now, these ideas are all tech-based, or they should be, and if they're not, we're going to cut them off quickly, so they're all tech-based, and they're sometimes really early. There's sometimes what we call napkin ideas. But do you realize every one of Mike's successes started on a napkin, right? Virgin started on a napkin. Everything starts as a concept. That doesn't just the building doesn't just land. Somebody first had to draw the building out. They architected it, and then they went and they brought it to the world. So when people are coming today, they're coming with just these concepts. Sometimes they've invested some money into it, and they'll give us a demo, and that might be called a minimum viable product. And other times, they could be cash-flowing tech companies. Here's our ask of you. We're going to vote on whether or not we should move forward in due diligence with each of these entrepreneurs, which is where we go really deep. They have 5 minutes tonight, but we go really deep in the due diligence phase. We want your help. Share in the comments below if you absolutely love one of these ideas. You're like, oh my goodness, when that goes live, I'm going to pay for it. And I also want you to tell us if you don't like it. Politely, obviously, because these are their dreams, but share why you don't like the idea. Help influence our decision so that we're making the right call with each entrepreneur. So with that, who is the first entrepreneur joining us in the tank?
What if you knew about Instagram or Slack or Clubhouse when the company was raising a friends and family round at $10,000 per person? What if you were able to see all the tech companies that Grant Cardone and Jared Yellin have co-founded in one place and invest in any that excite you? What if you were able to expand your portfolio into early stage tech companies with extraordinary founders and teams? 10x Tech Angels is the most unique investment club that you will ever find, because not only will you see some of the most innovative tech companies at the lowest valuations ever, but you will also be educated on how to pick tech winners, meet other members of our community, and experience the excitement associated with taking an early idea to exit. Become one of the founding members of 10x Tech Angels for an exclusive offer with some extraordinary bonuses. To learn more, visit 10xtechangels.com.
We are back from commercial break with another entrepreneur. What is your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Gigi O'Brien. I'm calling in from Barbados.
Awesome. Thank you for calling from Barbados. You have 5 minutes. Please share your big tech idea. We're excited to hear it.
Okay, so my name is Gigi. I'm an author and entrepreneur. I recently founded the Global Intelligence Initiative, and I specialize in human intelligence, which is basically emotions, mindset mastery, cognition, and optimizing your executive capacity. But right now, it's pretty hard to be human. We're in a mental health crisis where at its worst, every 40 seconds, someone commits suicide. And at its best, unmanaged stress is silently killing us. I broke this problem down into 4 key areas. Silence, because of the stigma, shame, and judgment. Awareness, because I believe there's education lacking, and sometimes we don't even understand what's happening to ourselves or others. Then there's the affordability, justifying the spend versus the severity of symptoms. And once we finally decide to go and invest in ourselves, there's the accessibility issue, scheduling, availability, all that time and energy, and you don't always find the right match. But what if you could speak openly, feel understood, afford support, and have it available 24/7 whenever you need it? That's kind of the foundation of my idea, the Siri of mental wealth. I believe the time for emotional assistant is here. Imagine a technology that could listen, analyze, and support your psychological needs so that you could move from just surviving into thriving. A therapist, life coach, and if we do it right, a best friend. How would this all work? Well, that's kind of why I need you guys in the tech incubator. I don't have a CTO, but I would pair voice technology with emotional AI and decision intelligence. These are all present in the market already, but they're not being combined in the way that I imagine, which I believe could be a secret sauce to overcome the 4 problem areas. I believe there could be an opportunity for connection, because when we're struggling and suffering, we're alone. Changing that could change the world. Then there's the community. We could move from the distraction of social media to traction. With mental wealth comes a thriving community, and I believe there's an opportunity for social sharing, an idea like art therapy that produces NFTs. And for the creators economy, I mean, memes would make a world of difference and laughter would be a lifeline. I believe content creators would also want to engage in this platform for social good. The global impact is that 31% of all adults believe that this is the biggest problem that they face. It's impacting almost 1 billion people, and depression is only 3.4% of that. We're spending $1 trillion. It's forecasted to go up to 16 trillion, and only 50% of people are receiving treatment. Then we've got the pandemic. So the numbers are even increased. 53 million new cases of depression, 76 million additional cases of anxiety, which means 1 in 4 people, if it's not you, it's your family, a loved one, or a colleague, is going to experience a mental health condition. It's going to impact your physical health, your relationships, society, and our economy. But there's also gains. For every dollar spent, there's a return of $4. There's also 230 billion to gain in productivity. It's kind of trendy. The compounding annual growth rate is set at 3.6%. The industry is set to increase to 100 billion by 2028. And then when we move outside of mental health, I believe there's also mental wellness to tap into. Self-improvement, meditation and mindfulness, sleep, and brain boosting. If you don't believe me that it's booming, ask Siri. She's handling 1 billion requests per week, which breaks down to almost 100,000 per minute. I think that a subscription model of a monthly flat rate could be good, but even more excited would be a hybrid model. Your experience, your choice. We could cater to individuals, executives, and corporations. Tiered pricing, how you see in software, usage-based, which might be per minute voice pricing, or per added, where you could go commission and then have therapists or an academy with courses online, which would be more like Coursera or Udemy. So I think there are three meccas that we could approach: mental health, mental wellness, and self-improvement. And I've kind of called that the triage of opportunity. I don't want to really touch on emergency and crisis, but I think the technology could have a hard stop. If there were any indicators of someone in a suicidal position, it could connect to a hotline. But the main areas of focus would be urgent for mental health, important for mental wellness, and then for the real go-getters, beneficial for self-improvement. So you're just moving through the mental health continuum, which is something that already exists. Why me? Because I have 20 years of experience with this stuff. I wrote the book on it, The Intelligence of Happiness. I went from teen depression into abusive marriage. I went from #1 performer in the continent with Amex to going into film and completely failing. I've gone from suicidal to best-selling author. And most recently, last year, I was held at knife point in bed. My partner was stabbed in the throat, and I had to learn about trauma, PTSD, and anxiety. I am my avatar. I know that this will save lives and help humanity thrive. And I mean, like, what's sexier than that, right? The go-to-market strategy is the 10X strategy. Obviously, courage, consistency, and daily good vibes, the attitude, but also the fact that I'm already part of the 10X program. I'm a mentor with 10X, and I love grant stuff. I believe this is a vehicle that, fueled by the right team, hopefully the 10X Incubator, can scale and go the distance. The bonus is I'm backing it with Napoleon Hill, Nikola Tesla, and Abraham Hicks, basically backing it by the universe. So thanks so much. And for everyone that's going to be tuning in and watching this, I have added a coupon code 10X Love to my website so you can get a free copy of my book. Thanks so much, guys.
Great presentation.
Yeah,
You
nice
nailed
job.
it in 5 minutes. Good stuff. So let's pretend that we did not exist. How would you do this on your own?
I would eventually just build a team. I would start to tackle it one action item at a time. Obviously, you know, the information's out there. I would probably take a little bit longer to do it, which is why they call them accelerators, but I wouldn't give up on it. At the end of the day, if you give yourself enough time and you don't quit and you're learning continuously, I believe that anything is achievable.
Like, what you
All
got?
right. Well, one of them, what kind of competitive research have you done so far? What's out there? Because it's like, this almost seems to me like a very obvious thing. Is it too obvious that no one's built it yet?
Nope, there are competitors in the market, but again, the secret sauce for me is that they haven't combined it to the standard of engagement. A lot of the testimonials advise that it's too generic, or it's working with the AI to text rather than voice to voice, which I think creates a lot more engagement and companionship. Also, they're following the cognitive behavioral therapy method, which has been around for ages. I believe that there's an opportunity to improve on that when it looks at self-mastery. Having been in all these situations of mental suffering, struggle, and also leveling up and thriving, dealing with fear, not just fear of failure, but fear of success, accountability, and all that. I believe there's an opportunity to create a platform based on my IP and frameworks. And even Replica, which is sort of like augmented reality, that is using sort of like a person figure, but having sat in the position of being in depression, PTSD, and all these things, there's an opportunity to improve on the technology, which I believe is my secret sauce, overcoming the 4 problem areas. So while some of them are doing that, I don't think they're combining them in this way.
Speaking of the technology, so when you get into this realm, right, there's a number of things. It's not infinite, but there's hundreds of things people might be saying to the phone. And then there's probably thousands of reactions that you need to record to go back to them. Where are you going to be getting the data for the artificial intelligence to be trained so that if somebody says something, you don't say the wrong thing back to them?
Totally. I think we have an opportunity to license it. I think there's AI that exists already. And because it's not exactly new, I'm not sure, honestly, I'm not the best person to speak on the tech, which is why I need the CTO. But I prepared this in a few days. So I imagine that any questions you have, I'll be able to answer and find a pathway through to overcome it. The other thing is that these people, like, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. All of these have less than 10,000 followers on Instagram, with the exception of, I think it's Talkspace, which means that the humanity doesn't really know that these solutions are available to them. I think with the right marketing and promotion, that you could really create brand equity and own a space in the market share, because people actually are resonating and are aware that these solutions are available.
Very interesting. Let's see what our audience thinks. I want to first commend you on what you went through to get to where you are. So thank you for that. Thank you for not giving up. You can stop sharing your screen. Thank you for like you said, you know that there's a need for this because you need it for yourself, and there's others too that will suffer. And I just commend you for going on the journey. That's not an easy journey, and you made it. So just kudos to you. What does our audience think? Should we move forward into due diligence with Gigi? Eric, what are you thinking?
So Gigi, thank you for the presentation. I think you crushed it. It was a really nice, clean pitch. What I'm really liking about this is the trend of mental health is just skyrocketing, of the amount of people who are recognizing that it's a problem, recognizing that they need to do something about it, and recognizing that they can't just keep living in a depressed mood all the time. I'm going to say yes to due diligence. I want to go deeper into this, but I want you to know that if we license this artificial intelligence, you don't have a whole lot of IP left in the idea, which is going to affect the valuation. And so we need to really discuss where we're going to get that data from. And also we're going to discuss what this revenue model is going to look like. Who are we targeting to go after of going to be the first users for this? Because it's not like everybody's raising their hands and saying, I'm depressed. We're going to have to find those people and we're going to have to be strategic with it. But I really enjoyed your pitch. And I think there's something here, especially in such a growing market.
Yeah, sure. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I really started to like you a lot more the more I listened to you. I wasn't sure at first. And there's two things I'm excited about. One of them is the licensing model. I'd really, really like to understand the tiered model. And if there's a way to, let's say, get government money, subsidy money, insurance money, I would build a model around that if I were projecting on your model. The second thing is, I don't know if you ever remember seeing the movie Her, which was directed by Spike Jonze, starred Joaquin Phoenix, which was the AI in his ear. It ended up becoming his girlfriend. But this notion of creating a conversational friend based upon this technology and being able to map someone's progress conversationally, I can imagine a market and promotional strategy that could really, really be attractive to the imagination. There's a theatrical side to this that would be exciting. So, the more I think about it, the more I buy into it. There's no question about the need. I'd want to know a lot more about you, your expertise, what kind of team you might have, relationships you have, how this can become accredited. You really need to get acceptance in the medical community, the psychology community, and that is not an easy nut to crack.
So thoughts on due diligence?
Yeah, I think it's worth going down the rabbit hole with you further, for sure.
And I'm a yes too. I'll tell you why. And what I'm really looking for here is I want to make sure, and this is for everybody that comes to the tank, you got to just let us know you're the right person. Like, you got to let us know that that you are called to do this. You're an expert on the subject matter. Something happened in your life that led to this distinction, and you're like, this is mine. I'm taking this territory. And I heard that in you today. There was a lot of certainty that was present. There's a lot of unknowns because there's gaps in A, there's only 5 minutes, and B, the technical gaps, right? That's the role that we fill. So I'm a yes in you with regards to the idea. There's such an important problem in the world that needs a meaningful solution. I think what you presented today is a piece of that solution. And in due diligence, we're going to start pulling out the rest from you. But you did an awesome job. Yes, let's move forward. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming to the tank. All right, after commercial break, we'll have another entrepreneur in the tank.
Blueprinted is the place where you can go in and put those steps in there and then be able to impact the world and monetize on that by having a marketplace in the community that we're developing for you in Blueprinted.
So we've created the app for any expert to be able to come in and put their steps, their exact steps to success in our app and put it on a marketplace where people can go and buy their steps to any success.
We are back in the tank with another entrepreneur. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Chris Jones. I'm calling from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. You have 5 minutes, Chris. Please share your big tech idea. We're excited to hear it.
Wonderful. I will share my screen here with you. All right. So thank you very much again for taking the time to let me pitch this to you. The company that I'm trying to put together here is called Sentinel Sky. One of the big problems we have living in New Orleans right now is a massive crime rate. I have close to 20 years of emergency management, EMS, and public safety experience. And one of the big factors that has really helped a lot of other agencies, around the world, is a public safety aviation program. I think I just went over the problem there. So our solution is Sentinel Sky. We'll provide a plug-and-play public safety drone service to large areas, responding to emergency calls for service, and often arriving on scene before ground assets, using the latest UAS technology or unmanned aerial systems technology. We'll be able to provide commanders, officers, and other field personnel with vital intelligence that can help reduce risk and improve safety. My moonshot, I want to replace current public safety aviation programs in the United States and around the world by providing 24/7 on-call public safety drone services to reduce crime and improve safety for police officers, paramedics, EMTs, and firefighters and the public. Excuse me. As I mentioned, I have close to 20 years of experience in public safety, emergency management, occupational health and safety. And I just recently left my full-time job to work on UAS services full-time. So we go to market strategy, looking to identify high crime areas with first responder personnel shortages. That's not hard to find. A lot of the major metropolitan areas, unfortunately, have seen a large surge in crime, and they are experiencing significant personnel shortages. I want to engage the stakeholders in each identified area of initial interest, demonstrate system capabilities to those individuals, contract with an initial annual service agreement, municipal agencies, or municipalities, states, federal agencies, and private business, purchase and install equipment, facilities, vehicles, and personnel, and convert those annual contracts into 5-year or more contracts to continue that growth. So right now, per service area, what we're looking at is about $5 to $10 million per year per service area. I can, for example, in the city of New Orleans, I can cover the entire city of New Orleans with 6 drones. 7 if we add a tactical response vehicle that can stay in the air a lot longer. Let's see. I really feel that 10X Incubator is the perfect partner because you guys provide a wealth of knowledge and connections that will help me ensure the greatest level of success for this critical service and help, together we can help save lives. I just wanted to surprise you with something memorable as was asked. In the mid-2000s, I was working as an EMT in a busy 911 EMS service. My partner and I received a call for service for an individual who said they were feeling sick. When I arrived on scene, we noticed something didn't seem right. All the lights in the house were out and nobody was on the street. As we were getting out of the ambulance to get our equipment to go inside, gunfire erupted from the side of the house in our direction. My partner and I jumped back in the ambulance and drove off. I was fortunate to not have been struck by gunfire, but my partner was not. She was struck by a round in her hip. She survived the injury, but now has to walk with help of a cane for the rest of her life and can no longer work in the field as a paramedic. Had we had a service like Sentinel Sky, we would have had that vital intelligence, knowing that the guy was hiding on the side of the building, waiting to ambush us. There are dozens of other use cases out there that can benefit officers, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, what have you. And I feel that this is a service that is not being addressed just yet, or not being provided just yet. That could definitely be not only beneficial, but also lucrative.
Great presentation. Thank you for sharing that story. And thank you for your service as well. You can stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure I heard this. Did you just say you quit your full-time job to do this full-time? Or what was that line you said? I just want to see where you're at in this process.
Yeah, so I actually, because of Hurricane Ida, we lost all power here. There was a lot of damage in the area. I have been flying drones for years, recreationally and semi-professionally. And sitting at home with no power, but I had a working vehicle and gasoline, and I had a bunch of friends and family members and neighbors that were all looking to see what damage they had for their house. I had a drone sitting around, so I started flying drone services for people, inspecting roofs and inspecting properties. That quickly turned into my initial business called JAS Unmanned Aerial. And we grew massively, very quickly. I started out just me flying. Now I have 5 pilots. We went from $0 to $30,000 a month in the first month. Just in January alone, we had about $15,000 in revenue. And we focus more on technical stuff now. Drone land surveying and inspection services, stuff like that. It got to the point where.
How difficult is it for you to just pivot and do this now? Like, what needs to happen for you to do what you just presented to us today?
Oh, nothing. Oh, I've got the equipment. We've got everything necessary for it. I see this as an additional element or expanding into an additional service.
Michael, questions yet?
Well, the first one is competition. Who's out there doing this right now? What do they have that you don't have? How much have you thought through this or that perspective?
Yes.
I'd just like to know, I know there's buyers for this for just a strange reason. I'm actually familiar with your space, and I know a distributor in the law enforcement world that sells high tech. So I've actually heard of some things. I know drones sell like crazy right now. That's the thing, is you're tying this to a service. So tell me a little bit about that.
Exactly. I'm sorry. There aren't that many competitors out there. There's about 2 or 3 that I've been able to identify that are venturing into this area, but they're more an equipment manufacturer. They're looking to sell equipment. We are a service organization. One of the things I try to convey is that I don't necessarily see us as a drone services company per se. The drone is the tool. We are a data company. We are collecting data and collecting intelligence to provide to individuals that need that information, whether it be a project manager on a construction site or a field commander on the ground, with a barricaded subject or something like that.
Yeah, Chris. And then also, who is the buyer of this? Like, who is the person that's responsible? And then they're going to be purchasing the data, the service, and the drones.
So that would primarily be local municipalities, city governments, primarily police departments. But we also have a lot of use cases available for fire services. I'm not sure if you can see the drone behind me. I have a sensor for that has a thermal sensor on it that we can tell if a building's on fire, what side of the building is hotter than the other.
Yeah.
You can also see barricaded or not so much barricaded, but hidden individuals hiding in a bush or something like that. Another feature.
Would these drones be flying all the time though?
No. So what we're looking to do is have fixed locations that they would fly from. So when the call for service, the 911 call comes out, they launch to they launch to the sea and fly to the sea.
Oh, okay. Because I thought they were flying the whole time, and I was like, "Oh, that's going to be a tough headline for a mayor to get over." Like they install drones.
So just explain one thing to me. So like in your story with your colleague, like if this existed, that potentially could have been avoided. But explain to me how. So like the drone would have seen that there was somebody on the side of the house that had a gun, and is there somebody watching it? Like there's somebody sitting and watching the camera? Or like tell me like the actual use case of it. How does it work?
So in that case, for instance, we would, when the call for service comes in, the drone would launch. The difference between a traditional public safety helicopter service and a drone is we can launch almost immediately. A helicopter takes a half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour to get up and on scene. We can deploy with the sensor that has RGB, zoom, and thermal capability, and you would be able to see that there is a person hiding on the side, and you can even see that there's a weapon in the person's hand with it. There's also an additional function where we can do a smart lock function, where you turn on the smart lock function, will circle around every person and every vehicle on the screen, and you tap on the circle, and it will lock on the camera to that person or the vehicle and follow them. In New Orleans, we have a federal consent decree for our police department. They are not allowed to give chase in somebody fleeing a scene, largely because of the dangers to the general public. With this capability, they don't have to chase. We can stay, above them, oftentimes high enough where they can't hear the drone. They won't even know it's there, and it saves,
So I have one more quick question. What do you need us for? So you obviously you're already doing this, and you could you continue to do this just by slight pivot and marketing and messaging. And where do we come in? Are we a investor? Are we a promotional partner? Is there some technology that needs to get built? So you need a team to build it. Where do you see us fitting into helping you 10x and 100x or 1000x what you're looking to do right now?
So I need investment. I also need assistance just building the proper team. Right now, it's just me managing everything. And I want to build the management team and the support structure properly. I don't want to, I don't have as much experience building a team like that and building that infrastructure to make sure that's successful. I kind of see this as being a, if this is successful in one area, it's going to launch to several others. We haven't even launched the company yet, and I've already actually just had an interview the other day with a magazine about the services. So it is definitely something that's out there, and I just want to make sure that it's done right. And I would love that guidance and support.
Awesome. Yeah, please.
Okay, I got one more question, which is, why do they need you? Drones are cheap. Why wouldn't a city just bring in an internal team and do this versus stroke a check for $5 or $10 million to you?
That goes back to the personnel issue. Most police departments, well, not most, but a lot of police departments in the United States are horribly stressed for officers in the field. With us, we have the flight crew. We bring the equipment. It is a plug-and-play solution. You don't have to take officers out of the field. You don't have to hire pilots of your own. You don't have to purchase equipment of your own. And, it saves you all that effort and that strain.
Awesome. What does everybody think? What are your thoughts on Mike's solution? Really his business that would have a slight pivot and then really offer like an entirely new service to where there's a real need in place. Eric, what are your thoughts on next steps?
So Chris, sorry, I said Mike.
You're
Sorry.
Mike.
The other Mike. You're the other Mike.
Yes. So better looking Mike, yes.
I think you gave an awesome presentation. And I think that there's definitely a need for this. So I like the problem and the solution, and I'm going to say yes to due diligence. However, I do agree with Mike. For $5 to $10 million, I think a police commission might look at that and say, you know what, we'll buy the drones and we will take that person, because the value that you're adding is 100% there. But I think it might be, we got to figure out what we're going to do about all that. And then also from a promotional play and a marketing situation, you're going to have to be able to tell this story where I can already see the newspaper headlines going, the police station bought $10 million worth of drone services. And then the headline turns into mayor buys into Orwellian drone, services to watch everybody. So there's some things in there in due diligence that we're still going to have to fix. But I really love your track record. I love the story of your business, but then also how important this is because you've been in these shoes and experiencing it. And I'd want to head into due diligence.
Right, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So the first thing, I'm not convinced yet that someone would stroke a check for $5 to $10 million. I don't know that for sure, but that I would say I really want to understand the buyer. So if it were me, I'd find a customer first. So you could go to an investor and say, I've got a contract. I've built relationships with the buyers and decision makers. I know who to sell to. I know exactly how many there are. Here's the need and here's the pitch to them. And by the way, with regards to your pitch, open with your story of your partner. Hook me emotionally right from the start. Show me the need and tell me why that never would have happened. Let me buy into the humanity. And that would probably change the story that you just brought up, Eric, which is, if I'm going to say there's an Orwellian drone, no, it's saving lives and here's what's going to happen. And if it would have been done the old way, it probably wouldn't happen at all, right? So again, that to me, I need to know the buyer better to be able to say for sure yes, right? I'm like 65% there. That would be my answer.
Yeah, that's great feedback. So I'm not going to call you Mike. So Chris, I really like you. Your track record is relevant. Like Mike said, that story at the end, being in the beginning. I know we format these presentations, but you always move that. If the story is that compelling, like for all of you watching, like move that to the front so we can really be hooked in. And then it just opens up our listening differently. Where I'm struggling is that if you closed one deal, you no longer have a money issue, right? Like just one deal, you're set. You got $10 million in, like you can go build out the entire executive team and you're on fire. I'm a yes to go into due diligence with you because of you. And this is a problem that needs a solution, but there's an investment to go into due diligence with us. I want to make sure that it's right for you. And to me, go and validate this. Get one yes, even if it's for $1 million, get one yes. It'll radically change your business. If you're doing $50,000 a month now, one yes, just 2x your business. Like, so I would just go after one yes first before due diligence, but I'm a yes to move forward with you. Great job in the tank. And thank you for your service as well. All right. After commercial break, we'll have another entrepreneur in the tank.
This is the great secret of my life. The thing that has made me is one word. Dude, this thing is so big. It's about the 10X movement.
The 10X movement had really improved my life dramatically.
Now I'm a millionaire because of it.
Our business was at $2 million. This year we're on projection to do $25 million.
Our revenue went up 29%.
We've already got our tickets for next year as well.
Before we even started, I could go home right now and I got my money's worth.
That's why I come to GrowthCon, and I'll always come to GrowthCon.
10X means a lot to me. 10X, like I told you, is just the beginning. 10 times more power to help those that need it the most. 10 times more power to motivate and inspire those out there. Give him a 10X!
With other people witnessing what's happening with us, is like chains are being broken from families everywhere.
I'm gonna tell you, 10X, it was a lifesaver, a life changer for me. And just because of what it's done for my family and what it's done for me.
And this is where people get stuck, and that's why we do the 10X Growth Conference, to get you out of comfort, to get you out of comparing yourself to somebody in Pakistan that has nothing. We want to make this a big event for you. Our goal is to change your lives. Welcome to your 10X Growth Conference.
All right, there we have it. An episode of the tank. What do you think of 10X Tactic? What are your thoughts, man? We have entrepreneurs from around the world pitching us. These are their dreams, really early, some of these ideas, like really, really early. What are your thoughts about the tank?
First of all, the only thing that matters is, do I believe you are likable and capable of bringing this vision to fruition? And there wasn't one unlikable person.
Yeah.
Now they're varying degrees, skill sets.
First of all, Eric, right?
He's right.
Yeah.
But first of all, you had a very diverse group all over the world, like you said.
Yeah.
And I love that. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that. I think that's really, really important, just showing the power of this. And being an entrepreneur is hard and it is lonely and it is hard to hear no's, but it's worse if someone says yes and you're not ready yet.
Yeah.
Or you don't have a great plan. So I think the value of this is awesome. It's a great way to get some great ideas. I love how you look at the business. The questions you guys are asking are phenomenal. So great program.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. Because you have such a track record. Like we shared in the intro and you shared for yourself. Like you've done such extraordinary things as an entrepreneur. And to be able to provide insight and guidance like that, both to the entrepreneur and then also to the audience watching, like tens of thousands of people watch every one of these episodes. And the reason we host this is yes, for the entrepreneur to pitch us, but it's really for you and the audience, because so many people, they just don't think that they're smart enough or fast enough or they have the right resources or the skill set. So they never try. Like how many
teams
people,
are for.
Yeah,
that's what teams are for.
Like how many people this minute do you think in the world of 8 billion people have an idea that's like sitting in their pocket because they're not taking themselves seriously enough?
I'll say most with a phone, or at least I would hope it's most with a phone. Right?
So and you're one of those people. Like we go to events all the time. And the first question I ask is, who has a tech idea right now that they have not executed on yet? And almost everybody in the room raises their hand. And right now, I can guarantee you're raising your hand. You don't even know why. You're like, wait, I'm in my house myself raising my hand. Yes, because you have a tech idea right now that you haven't executed on yet. And we've literally launched this show for you so that you can see someone else that looks like you or sounds like you, or they have a similar story or a similar skill set, and they just pitched us. And maybe they heard yes, or maybe they heard no, but regardless, it's progress. Because the idea sitting in your pocket, I can guarantee you, will never impact your life or the world. But the idea that you pitch, even if you don't hear yes, you're going to start making progress. It's going to be an opportunity for you to learn. People like Mike or Eric or myself to refine it and maybe come back and pitch again. So I invite you right now, head over to pitch10x.com and submit your idea. Take yourself seriously just for the next 5 minutes. Just for the next 5 minutes when you submit it, take yourself seriously, hit submit, don't think twice, and let us review. And if we see potential, we're going to invite you to the show so you can share your moonshot, your vision, your dream with us. And if we see potential there, we'll say yes to go into due diligence with you. So thank you for showing up. We appreciate you always, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. All right, let's do the intro. Shabang, you can reschedule the other 3.
She already
Yep,
to inform you.
But we never ever get through.
Yeah, we get
Okay, well, that's high quality problem.
Yeah, all right. Okay, let's do intro now. This is where you'll introduce yourself.
All right,
So,
great.
yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Which napkin will become the next exit? Which MVP will evolve into a unicorn? Which cash-flowing tech company will reach the next level? Our hope and desire is that it's yours. Your idea, your MVP, your cash-flowing tech company. Now is your time. Head over to 10xincubator.com and submit your idea so that you get on the tank and give us the chance to transform your napkin into an exit. That's 10xincubator.com. That's 10xincubator.com. Let's go.